Hello and welcome to the Tank Club. Today I'm going to look at a mythic item. It's not a new one, it's an old one, and people are still asking about this now 2 years after it came out. So I'm going to try and kind of answer any questions that people have, trying to help people to understand this mythic item a little bit better, because I still feel like people don't really understand how it works, and if you did know, you probably wouldn't be thinking about using it. So here we go. So the mythic item that I'm talking about is the Bloodlords Embrace. Still now people look at this and believe that it sounds like a good mythic item for tanking, and it does kind of convince you to a certain point that it is a good mythic item. So let's have a little look at it. So dealing damage with a bash attack places a persistent uncleansable blood curse on an enemy. You can only have one blood cursed enemy at a time, and dealing additional bash damage moves the blood curse. When you block a blood cursed enemy, you restore 1605 magicka to you, and this can occur once every 1 second. So to a certain point it does sound pretty good. Now there are a few different things that people forget when they look at this particular item. So when I first saw it, I thought, wow, 1605 magicka every 1 second, that sounds amazing. Now in what situation is it amazing though? Because if you go into a fight and you can apply this to one enemy, so let's say you go into an ad pull, start off with an ad pull, we go into an ad pull, we activate it on one enemy, and the other 6, 7, 8 enemies can't provide us with anything. So if that ad hits us every 4 seconds, we're going to get 1600 magicka back once every 4 seconds. It's not going to be per ad, it's one ad, the one ad that hits you, and you've got to block it. If you go onto a boss fight, and I'm going to show you this in a minute, bosses typically have a range of different attacks that they go through. So they have like a light attack, a heavy attack, a mechanic of some kind. So there can be situations where you will gain benefits from this when the boss is light attacking you, maybe once every 4 seconds. Bosses don't really typically hit that often. So if a boss hits once every 4 seconds, you're going to get that magicka once every 4 seconds. But if that boss then goes into a heavy attack, which takes a couple of seconds to channel, and then after that goes into like a mechanic, which takes 20 seconds to activate, what are you gaining from that? You've got a boss that's not doing anything to you for potentially 15-20 seconds. Now there are so many situations where this is not going to be useful. So in trial content especially, there are huge amounts of places where this is not going to be very good, or it's not going to work. One of the places where this might have been nice would be the Cloudrest portal, for example. The Shadow of Zamarja cannot take damage, so when you bash the Shade of Zamarja in the portal of Cloudrest, you cannot place the blood curse on that enemy because it can't be damaged. So when you bash it, it doesn't apply the blood curse. In a similar situation, when you do Asylum Sanctorium, the boss light attacks once every 5 seconds, but it can also then go into multiple back-to-back mechanics. It can do the Dragon Breath Cone, it can then go into the Lightning Spit mechanic, it can then go into the Heavens, it could then land and do fire, and then it could then do another spit. You might have waited 40 seconds and this wouldn't have procced. If you think of like other trial situations, the Vmol twins, they teleport to each end of the room, they don't do any damage. When you think of Vhoff, the triplets, one of the bosses curls into the ground for 10 seconds. There's just so many situations where this is not going to be very useful. In dungeon content it's just the same. There are situations where mechanics last for very, very long portions of time. Now there are also situations where this, worst case scenario, if you're not going to lose gear sets, or you're not going to lose your monster set. So if you can run a setup where you're still able to use your 2 5 pieces and your monster set, and maybe you can adjust like your weapons or something or other to have one weapon set on one bar and one on the other, then you could fit this in. So a situation where I can see it being potentially useful would be like Kain's Aegis hard mode on the very last boss. That boss hits like once every 2 seconds. that means that you're going to get basically an additional 1,605 magicka recovery by wearing this. But in most cases, you would like be better off running, like if you're in a high damage situation, you'd be better off just running the Master Sword and Board instead of using this. Or in dungeon content, it's not worth slotting this in place of something else. Like it's not worth using this and losing a 5-piece gear set or even a monster set. So yeah, like it's just not that good. It's really not. And like people are going to probably argue against this, and that's fine. This is obviously my opinion. You guys will have your own opinions as well. Using this information, you could make an opinion on what you think is good. But the main thing to remember is this can only be applied to one enemy. People get confused with that. I don't think people realise that it's only one enemy. And you've got to look at the enemy's speed of which it hits you. So like, if you go in VSS, this is going to be really good during the Dragon Breath, because it's going to tick probably 3 times. Fantastic. But then when the dragons are doing their other mechanics, you could be waiting a very long time. Like if you think of Navintas, the last boss of VSS, that can go into really long mechanics and execute where it doesn't proc, it doesn't hit you for 15-20 seconds at a time. So you have to look at what situation are you in. Are you going to be hit by the same enemy multiple times to make this work? One of the situations where it can be useful is in a double Frost Staff build. Maybe you are going to be using one of those and you're using the Trifocus passive, and so you're going to have magicka issues if you do that. Trifocus passive, magicka skills, double Frost Staff, you're going to have problems. Using this could slightly combat that issue, so that's fine. But again, you're still going to encounter the same issues. Like if you're going up against a boss that only hits you once every 10 seconds, you're still going to have those issues. Let's go and demonstrate how kind of poor quality this can be. Like this is one of the worst case scenarios. There are obviously other areas. This is going to perform better in some places. So we walk in and we bash this boss. It's now got the Blood Curse active. But now, look how many seconds we've not been hit, we're not being hit, we're not being hit, we're still not being hit. That wouldn't, if that hit us, that wouldn't do anything either. Now we're kind of just waiting. Here's the first hit. This is the first time we've actually been hit. There we go. Here we go again. First hit. And now what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. About 14 seconds. Each light attack has got like a 5-second gap in between. It's actually easier to just heavy attack in between these attacks. Look, so I can just get a heavy off and then block that, heavy attack. Like if you need sustain, if you need magicka sustain, obviously you'd be better off just using balance in this particular situation. But you've got time to just, if you've got magicka sustain problems here, look, you just heavy attack with an ice staff. I've managed to get 4 heavy attacks off before the boss hit me, which is actually generating way more than 1,600 magicka. Do you know what I'm saying? So you'd actually be far better off just doing heavy after a heavy. So the heavy after a heavy trick, but you're using your ice staff. If you didn't want to use balance, you could just heavy after a heavy with a staff in between the attacks, because that is just much easier. So there you go. So there you go, guys. As you can see, there are a lot of situations where this isn't good. Most situations, this isn't good. If you need sustain, you'd be better off using other methods of sustain. The most important one, heavy after a heavy. Don't ever forget that. If you need magicka sustain, you'd actually be better off just increasing your health recovery and using balance. When you use balance, you spend health to gain 3,000 magicka. If you have a decent amount of health recovery, like 1,500, you're going to gain pretty much your entire health back just from 2 health recovery ticks. If you've got a healer healing you, one tick of radiating regen will bring you back to full health. So using balance is a more sustainable method, and it costs 1 skill rather than 1 piece of gear, or losing a 5 piece of gear. In ad pulls, obviously, Bloodlords Embrace, useless, because it only can be applied to 1 of the ads. You cannot apply it to multiple targets. So you're going to have to keep reapplying it, and as the ads die, you'll have to apply it to another target. You have to block the attacks, you have to take a hit while blocking. Do you know what I mean? It's just not as good as it sounds. So use this information and decide whether it's still a good mythic item, and see if it's worth the grind to go and pick it up. Personally, I don't think it's worth the grind. You'd be better off getting things like the Spulder of Ruin. You'd be better off getting other mythic items that are going to have more benefits. But yeah, hopefully this helps. This information will help you make that decision. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.